It's been a little while since Wizards of the Coast has stubbed their toe, but I think they may have.
I love this place!
How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. That's right. Back in March, I think it was Gary Con, Dan Ayub, the head of D&D, actually apologized to Luke Gygax. And that was for the shabby way that the company had treated the legacy of Gary Gygax. So that was a good first step. A lot of people, even folks like me, we're open, and just saying, hey, all right, let's see where this leads. Well, it doesn't seem to have led anywhere productive or good. If Dan Ayub's latest post on D&D Beyond is to be believed. Let's look at that a little closer. And here is that same Dan Ayub introducing the D&D Community Advisory Group. Uh-oh. If that doesn't set your spidey senses tingling, just look at the D&D Beyond, the old pandering rainbows, as we like to call them. It is June as I record this, so we are in full pander mode. So the Community Advisory Group. Now this supposedly stemmed from the Winter Community Survey. And Dan says that 3 things came through consistently in that survey, that people wanted trust, game quality. Gee, imagine that. They wanted the company that sells them games to make good games. What a foreign concept. And value, especially for D&D Beyond subscribers. Under game quality is honoring the legacy while strengthening what's next. That honoring the legacy is a nod to old grognards, of which I suppose I am a proud member of. And of course, here he is crowing about his apology to Luke Gygax, which day by day is ringing a little more hollow, especially when he introduces to us the D&D Community Advisory Group. Last summer, he shared that they were forming this group. That totally passed me by. He's talking about bringing in trusted community leaders into the room early so they can help stress test decisions, creative decisions. Oh my Lord, surface risks. What is a surface risk? I don't know about that. And make better calls before things are final. All right, so what you're looking at here is just a bunch of sensitivity readers. They have handpicked a bunch of sensitivity readers. It says they brought together a variety of creators. Some of them have made D&D and other RPG material. Others, I don't know where they pulled these people out. Maybe the subways or something. WPN store owners, event organizers, community builders, educators. Yeah. Formed in December, it looks like, and they have met with leads across the team to discuss early product concepts and D&D Beyond tools and to challenge their approach. Dan is telling us, before we see who these folks are, that they do compensate them. Compensate them for the time as they would any professional consultant. I got a bit of amusement from the professional consultants, as these are some of the most profoundly untalented people. So here's a couple. David Christ, rumored to be part frost giant. Yep. The Bald Man. I think I've seen that name before. It's at big conventions. I think he actually organizes D&D games, for like conventions. You know what? Of all people, this is probably one guy that they might want to listen to because he probably has the ear of a lot of players maybe and DMs and probably hears a lot of scuttlebutt. So actually I have no problem with the first guy on this list, but you get to folks like Donna Ricci, the owner of Geeky Teas and Games, who enjoys bad board games, good video games, Terry Pratchett novels, cats, advocating for mental health. Oh boy. And hitting people with boffer weapons. Future Londoner. Womp, womp, womp. Basically just a game store owner. Jen Kretschmer. Let's go back to Jen in a moment. Kelly Lynn D'Angelo, Tuscarora writer, veteran online DM, Legend of Vox Machina. I recognize some of these names. Candlekeep Mysteries was terrible. Now, as you can see, Kelly Lynn did D&D in a castle. I guess she was one of the DMs. That D&D in a castle is one of the biggest scams ever. Basically just a way to bilk D&D whales. Probably physical, but more financial too, out of their money so they can go play games with Kelly Lynn D'Angelo and Ginny D and people like that, and pretend that it's worth it. And of course, you notice the pronouns here. She's a she, her, they. Got to add that they on the end. Of course, we have Kelly McLaughlin, who's half of the Dungeon Dudes. Monty Martin is the other half. I am not a fan of the Dungeon Dudes. I don't like the channel. I think it's a crap channel. And it's actually kind of dying, as I revealed in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. They are getting, for their subscriber base, not a lot of views on their most recent videos. So I would be concerned if I were the Dungeon Dudes. There's Michael Shea. Just like Jen Kretschmer, we'll go back to Michael E. Shea, a.k.a. Sly Flourish. But just a few others here. Nala J. Wu, proud, multiple marginalized freelance art director, layout designer, sensitivity cultural consultant. Oh boy, looks like they got a pro on this one. And an award-winning illustrator and actor working full-time in tabletop. And you can see the art that Nala does here. And of course, Nala is a they, them. It's that sort of CalArts style, which I don't think has any place anywhere near D&D. Maybe for other games it's good. You know, Steven's Universe style, if you will. You know, I'm sure it has a place somewhere. Just get it away from fantasy RPGs, please. There's Scott DeBoard. Scott owns the Silver Dragon Games, Arizona's best D&D store, 2026 Gamma Retailer of the Year, community-driven game store, intentionally designed to create a welcoming space for women and new players. So that says to me this person is probably very much a virtue signaler. And let me just say this too, whenever somebody is that goes overboard that much to have a welcoming space for women, I got an eye on you. Those are often, and I'm not alleging anything here, but often those types of people, you know, are the sex pests of the world. So they don't fool me. There's Ted Sikora, aka Nerd Immersion, just a bog standard D&D channel on YouTube. Teo Sabadia, one of the most boring channels you will ever see, is Mastering Dungeons, which he does with some other guy. They will put you to sleep in like 20 minutes. If you need something to fall asleep to, I highly recommend Mastering Dungeons. Another untalented person who is now collecting a little paycheck from Wizards of the Coast. And we have Zach Clay. Zach is a professional DM from the San Francisco Bay Area. Sure, he's a nice, solid conservative coming from San Francisco Bay. Coordinates youth D&D programs. Mentoring the next generation of TTRPG storytellers. Yeah, so they obviously needed a black face here. And congratulations, Zach. I've never heard of you. Nobody has ever heard of you. But you are now the token on the advisory committee. Now, keep in mind, all of these people are going to have a say in what D&D products look like. Mike Shea is Sly Flourish. The Lazy RPG Talk Show wrote Return of the Lazy DM. Forge of Foes. He has his fans. He had a lot more fans earlier, and then he started to get political. He did some sweeping for Wizards of the Coast when they were running down Gary Gygax, from what I remember. He was kind of defending them. Yeah, so here is Mike. Ladies, the 2% of you that watch my channel, and try not to swoon too much over Mike. This is Forge of Foes. This is a Kickstarter he did a little while ago, where he felt compelled in a monster book to talk about anti-colonial play. Ongoing legacy of colonialism is the foundation of a great deal of what's wrong in the world. Talking about the history of our modern age being defined by specific groups of people laying claim to the entire world over centuries of exploration and not caring that the rest of the world had other peoples living in it at the time. Using ancestries as adjectives, he did this little example down here. For example, goblin cultists are attacking the village. Goblin bandits are attacking the village. Goblin refugees are attacking the village. Goblin men's right activists are attacking the village. So there you go. All the people on this list are liberal. Some of them will tell you. And Mike O'Shea is one of them. And then, of course, romancing. Who wouldn't want to romance a monster, right? Of course, there's a consent section. What are we doing here? This was in a monster book. There you go. This is one of the dudes who is going to be telling D&D, Wizards of the Coast, this is what we want. This is what the fans want. So I guess this kind of stuff is you're probably going to be seeing a little bit more of it. Then we have Jen Kretschmer. Jen is an award-winning game designer, author, actual play performer, television actor and producer, and disability consultant, as well as the creator of the Accessibility in Gaming Resource Guide. So there is Jen and her very disturbing eyes. Now, you may remember that name. Maybe it's rattling around in the back of your skull. Like, how do I know, where do I know the name Jen Kretschmer? Well, you may know Jen from this. So you may remember Jen from the Candlekeep Mysteries, and I guess she had an adventure in it, but it was something about what was in that particular adventure. And this comes from a write-up on it. As an ambulatory wheelchair user, Kretschmer says that this was important to her, that her dungeon was a place that she could explore. So she is somebody she can walk, but she chooses to use a wheelchair for some reason. As such, it's filled with fantasy elevators, whether they function by pulley or by magic, she didn't say, and ledges that are accessible by ramps rather than stairs. That's right. She is the ADA dungeon girl. Wants all dungeons to be refitted, wants the stairs to be taken out and ramps put in. But yeah, she is now advising Wizards of the Coast. The wheelchair dungeon chick is now advising Wizards of the Coast, and we'll have her fingerprints all over D&D. And in case you thought, well, maybe she's toned things down a little bit, this is Druid City Games over on Blue Sky. Super proud of this character. We work closely with a consultant to build Herja in a way that someone that uses a chair for mobility could see themselves in the most accurate way. We learned a lot as able-bodied folk. And then Jen pipes in. She must have been that consultant. Very proud of the work we did on Herja and how she turned out. This team was so receptive and excited to find ways to make her incredibly cool and badass while maintaining authenticity and accuracy in her design. An honor to be part of the process. Well, here's Herja. That's right. Drink her in. It is a creepy adventurer named Herja going around in a wheelchair. Can't go over any fields. Remember in Lord of the Rings, the hobbits are frolicking through the fields at first, running. Now they need to find roads and paths and sidewalks for adventurers like Herja to go down. This is so stupid, so retarded. And of course, Jen herself is still a little bit of a pill. I cannot explain what it feels like to have medical trauma constantly reactivated by a full month of trying to get a necessary medication refilled and hitting endless systemic obstacles. Every time I have to pick up the phone, I feel an adrenaline surge from the top of my head running through her spine. Then she says, I'd really, really love a day without panic attacks. It's been over 2 weeks at this point, and they suck. So there you go. You're one of the advisors for D&D gets daily panic attacks. That should make all you D&D fans sleep really, really well as they go to her and say, hey, Jen, could we run this by you? So there we go. We have a group of untalented creators at D&D, the likes of Mackenzie DeArmas. Now those untalented people have to bounce all of their stuff against a hodgepodge of has-beens, never-weres, and Morlocks. This should be good. If you had any hope that D&D was going to pull out of their tailspin and right the ship, especially after Dan Ayub apologizing to Luke Gygax, That's not going to be the case. Now we have this advisory panel, and boy, these people, some of the most boring YouTubers, the Dungeon Dudes, I hate. Teo Sabadia is the cure for insomnia. Jen Kretschmer. We are going to be looking at one of Jen Kretschmer's panel videos on the live stream tomorrow. So that'll be June 3rd as I am recording and releasing this video, Wednesday, June 3rd, on our normal live stream, The Lair. We can find that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And boy, it's a doozy, and it should be fun. So please check us out. Check out our live streams. They're a lot of fun. Jen Kretschmer, just a basket case, mentally ill, no good. Then we have wimps like Sly Flourish, basically ashamed of who he is, what race he is. And to me, I find it disgusting. I find him a reprehensible and pitiable fellow. And as I said, all the others on the list, just retailers and tokens and people like that. A bunch of nobodies are going to be the new tastemakers for D&D. So good thing there's the OSR and, Hyperborea and Dragonslayer and games like that. Even Shadowdark if you want something a little more close to a 5e experience. That's a good game too. So yeah, lots of good options out there. It's just never-ending amusement watching D&D just make bad decision after bad decision. And anytime you put someone like Jen Kretschmer in an advisory role, oh boy, this should be good. So you let me know in the comments what you think. Is this going to be as big a disaster as I think? Or, will it be okay? Who knows? So we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. You know the drill. Peace.